that keeps me relaxed, and it helps me work through my thoughts, particularly things like chopping. I love to just work out my energy and creativity and any nervousness that I have through cooking. Right now I'm making pumpkin pie, and I've got a little twist. I've decided to do things a little differently today, and I'll tell you why. I love the idea of a graham cracker crust. But today, I decided to read the label of what's in a graham cracker crust, and it's palm oil. Well, I'm not doing it. But the trick is I don't really like regular pie crusts with just basic flour and water. I'm just not a fan. I think they lack taste. So I thought, what am I gonna do that goes with pumpkin that isn't graham cracker? So I've come up with my own pie crust. I got bran flakes. And when you do a bran flake pie crust, I've learned the hard way, the cooking time is different than on a graham cracker pie crust. But otherwise, the taste, that kind of malty taste of the bran goes really well with pumpkin pie. So here you go. I'm gonna start my cooking right here. I love this thing. Just if you think, oh my gosh, Cuisinart, how could you ever afford it? Just let me tell you, I got mine refurbished on Amazon. So this thing was like $59. It's no big deal, and I use it all the time. So here I've got 3 cups of bran flakes in my refurbished Cuisinart, and I will just plug this on high. So of course I'm trying to get it to be crumbs, and then I take this and I put it in my handy dandy bowl, which already has, you can kind of see here, which already has brown sugar. And so I've put a half a cup of brown sugar in there. And now I'm gonna pour in my my bran crumbs. And then I'm gonna put in some, move this up here, oh my gosh. I'm gonna put in some vegan butter, because I love vegan butter and I wouldn't have it any other way. And I'm just gonna pour this right in here. And I do that, which is wonderful. Oh, I'm sorry, I think I said a half a cup of brown sugar, but it's actually not a half a cup, it's a 1/4 of a cup. And then I do a 1/3 of a cup of vegan butter, which is great. And then why the heck would you even bother for it to be fall at all if you weren't gonna douse everything you do with pumpkin spice? So I just douse things with pumpkin spice. I think my recipe usually that I follow, like if I have to write it down, says about 1.5 teaspoons to 2 teaspoons, depending on your taste. But I just go crazy. I go like this. I squeeze the bottle. I just want it in there. I do a lot. So do it to taste, but personally I like it. And then I can never have enough cinnamon. So I do the same thing here. Sprinkle on some cinnamon. I like it so much that I don't have to measure it out. And then salt, because you know, we are baking after all. So you never go wrong with a little pinch of salt. Always makes you feel good. And then I'm going to stir this all together. It does have whole pumpkin in it and lots of sugar. I'm not gonna claim that this is a healthy recipe. I'm not saying that it is, but I do think that when you make things yourself and you can avoid corn syrup, Crisco oil, all these things that you find regularly in a pie crust, it's so much better for you. And you can see that this pie crust does not take me long. I'm trying to make sure that all the vegan butter gets through here. So just stirring so that it's even. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pour it onto my pie crust. We'll see if I actually, see if I need all of that. And I'm just gonna pat it down. Now pumpkin pies usually bake for an hour. We're not doing that here. We're gonna do 40 minutes, but usually I would bake it for 40 minutes. And then the trick to pumpkin pie is you have to let it set all by its lonesome out of the stove for at least 4 to 5 hours. Some people do it for 24 hours. So if you're thinking about Thanksgiving already and what you're gonna do for your family at home, you might wanna plan your pumpkin pies the day before. Okay, I'm gonna open the star of the show, pumpkin, 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 pumpkin. I'm gonna use the entire can of pumpkin. Put it right in my blender. Okay, everybody out. Pumpkin. I interviewed Jean Bauer of Farm Sanctuary, and this year, if you aren't going to eat turkey, thank you first of all for doing that, go ahead and adopt a turkey from Farm Sanctuary. Go to farmsanctuary.org and adopt a turkey. I think it's only $35 a year, something silly and little like that, and then you can keep a turkey happy all year long instead of eating it, so that's wonderful. This is coconut milk, And I've got about 3/4 of a cup of coconut milk, and in it goes, people, just right into the blender. No big deal there. Now, you gotta ask yourself when you're doing this, do I have a sweet tooth? Because if you do, then you want to follow this recipe as I have done, because I have a sweet tooth. But if you don't like your things super sweet, you can cut back on the sugar. So here I've got 1/2 cup of brown sugar, in it goes. And now I'm gonna do 1/4 cup of maple syrup, and maple syrup I think goes great with the bran flake crust, but again, you can cut it back if you would like. No harm, no foul there. A tad bit of cornstarch, not a whole heck of a lot. 1/2 teaspoon actually, so really not very much. In it goes. You see how easy this recipe is because everything just hops right in the blender. Now, star of the show. We're back to pumpkin spice. Okay, pumpkin spice. Yeah, you could measure it out. Go right ahead, not me. I'm just throwing it in. I love it. Cinnamon as well. I'm throwing it in. I love it. Some people put vanilla, and I just feel like I don't want to drown out the cinnamon or the pumpkin spice. So I don't put in vanilla. But like always, it's your recipe. You do what works great for you. If you want less salt, then don't do this. If you want less sugar, go right ahead and hold back. If you want vanilla, you go right ahead and put vanilla in it. Okay. Okay, just double checking that everything, oh yes, it's looking very lovely. Lovely. I mean, how can you go wrong? So we have whole pumpkin and coconut milk. Basically, that's what we're doing here. So I'm going to let this come right out. Now I made my crust pretty thick, so I didn't leave as much room maybe as I should have for my pumpkin. I'm gonna fill this with more pumpkin. I think it can take more pumpkin. I know a lot of people like to top off their pumpkin pie with whipped cream. Personally, I've never been a fan, but I do like to take sprinkles of the pie crust and put that on top to give it a little crunchy at the end. Okay, no waste going on here. And of course, if I were 12, I'd be licking the bowl because I know it's super good. So I set the oven on 375 and I'll bake this for about 40 minutes. And then, as I said, the real trick is you gotta be patient and you just gotta let it set for at least 4 to 5 hours, but even better would be 24. And then serve it to lots of people if you wanna spare yourself some of the calories. But remember, we do have whole pumpkin here, so it's not a completely wasted calorie intake. I don't wanna point it towards you because I don't want it to run. Here you go, you can see my wonderful pumpkin pie that does not have graham cracker crust because that has palm oil. Instead, it has a bran crust that I've done myself. So hit me up on my website, elysabethalfano.com, ELYSABETHALFANO, to find my bran crust and my pumpkin pie, and I hope that everybody has a great day. Don't forget to be vegan. Bye, everybody.